Alright, so here we've got a session review tutorial. We've got Kyle to record a session for us here, so we'll have a look at it. You can close this panel by just clicking that X thing there. Anyway, so there you go. I'll just play that 501 ignition. And this is just what the standard tables. Now you got 2 zone, 1 PLO, 1 normal. Okay. Yeah, right, we can talk about PLO. Get donk it and just rip it. Okay. Yeah, I mean, you can do stuff like that against weaker opponents. Get this out of the way. No, doesn't want to leave. Anyway, you can do stuff like that against weaker opponents if you want. Just rip the floor. Let's get this. All right. This float on the flop's is a bit wide, but I guess it's okay with the backdoor flush draw. Yeah, letting it go. That's fair. I mean, this is definitely an open on the button. Yeah, there's also a setting that you can do to just auto make your cards rather than having to press it every time. I mean, probably with 3-bet this hand pre-flop. I'll just cut off open and you call. I mean, calling is okay, but I think it's a high frequency 3-bet. What was F5 that suited? Probably does sometimes open on the button. Yeah, okay, so this is definitely a hand that you want to throw about a high frequency here. King Queen offsuit. I mean, it doesn't play very well multi-way, even though you've got position. Much better just to play it heads up against the cutoff in the 3-bet pot. Over a limp, you would usually want to make it the same size as you would against a 3-bet. So if they opened, sorry, the same size as you would when you were 3-betting. So if they would have opened to 2 big blinds and you make it like 12, you would just make it 12 yourself here. So there against the limp, you can make it like 60 cents. And you're better off there. If you're if you're finding yourself timing out in some of the tables, it's better just play fewer tables. Because if you're timing out, that means that you don't have enough time to think about all 4 tables. So it's better to just play on a couple of tables rather than all 4 and being stressed with in terms of time. I mean, it was a 3-bet multi-way pot. I mean, usually 6s doesn't really get in there. So like, what happened? There was an open from the cutoff, and you called with 6s and then a squeeze, and then went call. Usually you don't want to be over calling after the first player calls, because you don't really have direct odds to hit a set, and you're up against a pocket pair too often. You've basically got no showdown value at all. So there's no real point in set mining. I probably wouldn't be set mining against the pot size open from the cutoff anyway, so the initial call from the pocket 6s against the cutoff isn't so good. Yeah, it's a decent size squeeze there. I like that. These kind of limits might even go a bit bigger, but that's fine. Yeah, I mean, that's a snap call there. I don't. Yeah, it's just a call. I don't think you can fold King Queen offsuit against a hijack open.
The Ace King hand?
Yeah, the Ace King hand. There's like get in ranges for each position. From the low jack, it's like Kings plus an Ace King suited. From the hijack, it's like Queens plus an Ace King. From the cutoff, it's like Jacks plus an Ace King, and from the button, it's like 9s plus Ace King, Ace Queen suited. So when you understand them, you just kind of like we understand that you've got those hands that basically you're always getting it in. You're pretty happy to be able to play with the all-ins. That's heads up, of course. I mean, even in the squeeze spots, because it's heads up, all in. You get in ranges is intact.
I mean, lean down Ace King pre is highly exploitative, right? And this is anonymous.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I played enough at this to make the yeah, okay, swapping it around. That crushed the micros video.
Mm-hmm.
You can't really fold. You'll get in range.
Right.
Like
you need to see.
Especially the 5-0, right? Like some people will just punt it off.
Yeah, some people are just going to punt with like Ace Jack offsuit. So that that punting from fish ends up far outweighing the fact that you've got nits who only jam with aces and kings. So
yeah,
at the lower levels, you're going to have far more fish than nits.
Like, what would be your guess for a, like on a site where you have a HUD that is allowed, and you have a 3-bet stat that's shown for your opponent? would you say like 3 or lower, you can start folding ace king there?
Yeah, I mean, if it's like 3%, like here, ace king 10 3 with a single nut flush draw. I mean, it's not a great open from the hijack. Sorry, from the low jack in PLO. I mean, if you're playing PLO, you should learn something about the strength of hands pre-flop. Like for example, in PLO aces, you get dealt 2.5% of the time. So like if you're playing all your aces and kings, suddenly that's 5%. And if you're opening the low jack like 15-20% of the time, suddenly like half of your opening range is just aces and kings. And then you want your strongest queens, and then like run down hands and all that. So then like in the low jack, you're looking at the ace king 10 3 with a flush draw. It's just garbage. And PLO is one of those games where position is much more important than I don't know why you didn't top up here than in Hold'em, even though it's pot limit.
What happened in that ace queen hand? Squeezed and jammed the flop or something?
I'll go back here.
I think just jamming the flop was probably a mistake.
Yeah, okay. The squeeze size is okay, probably a bit bigger.
Actually, SPR is 2. I guess it's not terrible.
Yeah, I mean it seems okay. You don't really have too many hands that want to jam the flop, so like I mean yeah, you do you've got some of the pocket pairs, but like if you've got aces and kings, those hands are pretty okay with just betting over two or three streets. Yeah, what was I? Yeah, I'll just watch it again. Yeah, okay. The top and bottom isn't as strong a hand in PLO as it is in Hold'em. So when you can't really pot it into 3 other players and expect to be so good after they call. Yeah, I mean, so here's another spot where you want to just 3-bet. Ace queen suited, maybe you can get behind a call, but ace queen offsuit usually you just want to 3-bet. I mean, ace queen offsuit isn't too bad either. But the frequencies at which you're flatting roll versus 3-bet needs to be. You either need to know exactly what frequency you're doing, or you need to just be on the side of aggression at the lower limits. I mean, King Jack 10 5 with the second nut flush draw. I mean, it's not an amazing hand. Pretty could probably go either way. Yeah, so I mean, if you're opening 3x, you probably don't want to open 2s in the hijack. Like if you open your 3x ball hands. Pocket 2s, I mean, part of it's you can't really get. I mean, you can't get better to fold from the players behind you. Sorry about that. But pocket 2 doesn't really do so well against the calling range. You've basically got no showdown value after you open 3x.
I think 2's zone poker tables is more than enough. But if you can handle it, I guess, why not?
Yeah, this is definitely strong enough to open the cutoff. Yeah, I mean, even though it's double suited, it's you got that 3. I mean, if the 3 was like a 6 instead, might be okay to overlimp, but not really. Alright, what's happening here? It's a bit tight up there. Got putting ace highs call down with. But I think maybe ace 9 might consider a call. Oh, yeah, okay. I mean, there's no real. I don't know why you check back the flop with the 7th. I mean, I guess maybe you could check back sometimes. Check back the small line. Yeah, I mean, in the fast fold, there's a temptation to just fold the hand. That's not so good, but like you got to wait for the action to come around to you because you might want to open it. Sorry, what happened here? Raise call and you call pre-flop. Yeah, I don't think 8 full suited should be an overcall there. Yeah, like when cut off open, then there's a call. Yeah, you can't really call 8 full suited. I don't think you can even call 8 full suited against a cut off open. So when there's an open and a call, you definitely don't want to be calling. Especially against the 3 big blind opens. When you get 3 big blind opens, when you have a suited hand, you really want it to be connected, or one gapped at most in the big blind. Yeah, so once again, when you're positioning the some of them, you want to make it the same size as you would a 3-bet against an open. So if they open to 2x and you 3-bet to like 6 or 8, and you're going to make it 6 or 8 when you squeeze over when you raise over the limp. Sounds okay the way later here. I mean, when he donks into you, like if you've got an ace, how are you going to be playing that? I mean, I guess maybe you can raise it. Otherwise, yeah. I don't know if an ace will do that, but I guess we've got pocket aces. It seems okay. Especially if they're going to call you with a king. I think you don't have an ace or something. Or if they've got an ace, then like, yeah, I mean, they're always calling anyway.
The ace 10 should be folded.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, when you open and then you get a call and then someone squeezes you, you're going to be pretty damn tight. I mean, I guess you can argue for a call in the cutoff if you're pretty sure the player behind you is going to fold. But at the lower limits, the players behind don't fold to squeezes after you call. So you better just play closer to 4-bet or fold when you get this kind of spot where you open, you get a call, and then someone squeezes you, and you're the initial opener. Better to play much closer to 4-bet or fold. Don't really understand this, but I don't really understand. It's difficult to see what you're even representing.
I mean, I guess some like weaker players at the lower limit, they like call with like low pocket pairs against the squeeze.
Yeah.
Even though they shouldn't.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. So you're saying you got like queens or something. Yeah, I mean, this is not a good hand to squeeze here. Like, Ace King Queen 7 with one flush draw is like an okay open from the cutoff, but once a low jack limps and everyone limps, like there's no real point. You just let it go. Yeah, okay, this is pretty bad. You should never cold call a 3-bet out of position, like ever. When you're out of position against a 3-bet and you're thinking about entering the pot cold, you should basically always go for a cold 4-bet. In position, it's a bit of a different story, but even then, like the calling range in position against a 3-bet when you're cold entering the pot is pretty damn tight. So you could play much closer to 4-bet or fold.
That that Jack 10 of Hearts hand, very funny.
You should make him. Okay.
It was like a 3-bet pot, like blind
Yeah,
call.
I mean, one of those things, right? If you're playing 3-bet pots like this, you shouldn't really. Like when the 3-bet pots happen like this, you really need to think about what you're doing with your pre-flop ranges. Yeah, I mean, this is what happens. Like you get a bet on the flop. We go back to it, right? So you open in the low jack here in the bottom right, and you get two calls, one from the hijack, one from the blinds, and then you get donked in two. I'll get around to it. You get donked in two on the flop. I mean, the first call is okay because you're in position. You can have some other hands that will bluff after he gives up. But after you call and then there's two other calls, you're basically screwed. Like the chance of one of the other players having a stronger hand than you is very high, much higher than 50%. So against the second bet here, right, you're drawing dead against. You're drawing almost dead basically. Even though the bet's very small, you're going to expect something like this to happen. At a high enough frequency that it's just better to just call, just fold there on the turn. Like if you think about it this way, like on the flop there was 4 bets went in, and then on the turn there's another like 6 bets went in. So if you compare that to like a heads up pot, if you compare it to like a heads up pot, there's like 5 bets gone in right there. So yeah, you're screwed it there on the turn after it gets call. Did you just jam the floor? No. So like here when you get 3-bet from the hijack, it's just a fold. Especially because it's a pretty big 3-bet and you open to 3x in the first place. And then the flop is kind of like what you're representing when you check jam. You're saying you've got like 10s or something. Anyway, the main thing is fold pre-flop. Yeah, mate, checking's okay, betting's okay. Yeah, it's a good fold. Yeah, it's a good squeeze size. Yeah, this bet size here is too big. You usually just want to make it very small. I'm pretty sure there's a setting to turn the rabbit hunting off. But yeah, on that sort of flop, you got the paired board with the SI. Usually want to be betting pretty high frequency against the big blind there. So betting a high frequency bet, you usually want to go for a smaller size. So you can even go as low as like min, a quarter pot, or third pot, something like that, rather than a half pot. Just because it's very hard for the big blind to continue either way. Whether you half pot it or third pot it, it's still just as hard for the big blind to continue with any of their hands, and it's even harder the smaller the bet size, because they're forced to continue wider. But it's very difficult to do that because all their hands are just high cuts. Jack 5 suited, open small blind. Yeah, you definitely open small blind, Jack 5 suited. Where was it? I don't know. I mean, this is probably, even though you're getting amazing odds, it's probably just a fold. Because you got the bottom of your range pre-flop. And then when you get a call from the button and then a squeeze, you're almost never going to make money with this hand. Yeah, I mean, everyone when they look back to their play from a few months ago, um, it's pretty normal to have improved. I mean, I would be more worried if you thought that this play was okay. Um, yeah, I mean, I don't really understand why you checked. You got a lot of you've got a lot of pairs there that want to bet small to try and deny the draw from the other cards. So that's going to happen a fair chunk of the time. It's definitely going to happen if you've got if you floated like Jack 9 or something. So yeah, I'm going to be probably better to just bet small. Yeah, that's a good fold. And you could argue for a squeeze, but I think that Ace Jack or suit isn't great against the opener from the low jack. Even though low jack open limped, it's just not strong enough. Yeah, I mean, this is the kind of reason why the micros you can do stuff like that. But in general, I would be pretty happy folding because a lot of the time you're up against a pocket pair that's stronger than you, um, like an enormous amount of the time when you get it multi-way. Uh, even heads up against the shove, because the rake is so high, you would consider folding as well.
Multi-way. Uh, do you still go for fractions of a pot, or is it like? I mean, like smaller bet sizes. That's what I mean. Or should we always bet at least like half the pot? What's the incidence of being multi-way on the bet sizes?
Yeah, if you're multi-way, you usually want to bet much smaller. Um, on the earlier streets. I mean, on the later streets, if you're multi-way, you can bet a little bit bigger. But usually, on the flop, it's kind of almost always quarter pot, um, quarter pot, third pot, half pot sometimes, depending on the type of board.
Like very wet boards, maybe you go half pot.
Yeah, I mean wet rag boards. Yeah, you can go half pot. Boards with
Alright.
like completed straights and flushes and stuff. Um, not so much.
Uh-huh.
Especially monotone boards because on monotone boards the chance of someone having a flush multi-way is like pretty high, and the fact that flushes block each other pretty hard. Usually there's not a lot of betting that should be happening. And when betting does happen, it should be pretty small. And you see that even heads up on monotone boards, because both players have like 10-15% of their range being a flush. Um, well, up to about, yeah, around about 10% of their range being a flush. It's pretty to the end of it. Um, usually you want to be pretty conservative because if you just go bet, you're going to run into a flush.
Yeah.
And if you got a flush and their entire calling range is just flushes, then like you don't get any value. Right. Yeah, betting too big in multi pots. Yeah. All right. Look at some pre-flop stuff. I mean, and this is with much lower lower rake than here. So like, change it. Here, for example, this is against the 3x open, and you're on the button. So it's fairly tight. I mean, it's about the same either way, but it's fairly tight. And you got ace queen suited queens. I mean, like ace queen up here, sometimes you can flat it, but I think with much higher rake, with these things, you're playing much closer to 3-bet or fold. which is the current ranges that I have up on the website. So, like if you use the current ranges that I have up on the website for the high rate games, it should be fine. There's not a lot of point flooding because if you think about it, in terms of rake, it's the person who calls that is the one who pays the rake, not the person who makes the bet, right? Because the person who makes the bet doesn't actually pay the rake until it gets called. So essentially, it's the caller who pays the rake. So knowing that when the rake is high, you really want to narrow down your calling range and instead play raise or fold to try and disincentivize your opponent from calling. Anyway, you can see the same kind of thing here. There's cut-off button against the hijack open to 3x. I mean, there's definitely some flooding when the rake is low, but when the rake is high, you can get away with playing 3 or fold, especially because like here everyone is either opening 3x with an entire range rather than being quite polar when they open 3x. So knowing that, because they're quite depolarized, or at least not as polar as they should be when they open to 3x, that basically means your expectation of calling goes down compared to raising. So an argument towards raise or fold. And you can see definitely in the small one you're going to be playing raise or fold against the 3x open. What else is there? Yeah, we can look at some stuff where like it goes all in pre-flop. So yeah, so for example this, where it goes all in multi-way pre-flop, right? So this is a cutoff open button 3-bet, small blind cold 4-bet, cutoff jams, and then button calls. Right, that's the overcalling range for the small blind. Maybe if we change the open size, we get something slightly different. Yeah, same kind of thing, right? So cutoff opens, button 3-bets, small blind folds, big blind, cold 4-bets, cutoff jams, and then button calls. Right, this is the calling range for the big blind. So like you're folding kings multi-way, because this is the jamming range here for the cutoff, right, and this is the calling range for the button. So when you think about it, you can't really call anything sub aces, and so that's why the majority of the time when you get these multi-way all-ins, you want to be very conservative with the hands that you go all in with. Multi-way, like ace king offsuit. Even if we look at a 3-way open, you've got the button opening, small blind, 3-bets, the big blind, cold 4-bets, the button jammed, and the small blind calls. Right, it's a big blind. So in these multi-way all-ins, 101 deep, you're almost never making that third call with ace king or queens, right? And this is like as wide as the ranges get for a multi-way all-in, and this is with fairly low rake as well. So yeah, when it's multi-way all-in, you should be very conservative. Yeah, really only going wider. And if you look at the expectations of the individual hands, it's the pocket pairs that do much better than the ace king. So if you have the choice between calling multi-way all-in with queens or ace king suited, you always go with queens. So of course you're never going to get that choice in play, but you kind of get what I mean. And even kings here has got an expectation that isn't very high. Okay, so we've got a bit of multi-way all in, three bet stuff. So we talk about 4-bet all ins. So like when you're playing as a 4-bet all in, say you get like a biggish 3-bet and you get a 4-bet all in. Heads up against an all in, you can continue pretty wide versus multi-way. But against a 4-bet all in, you do usually want to be calling with ace king offsuit all the time. What was that spot? Was it hijack opens? It was like hijack opens, and then there might have been a call from the button, and then you squeeze on the small blind, and then the hijack jams, right? So then there you go. That's the calling range there against the 4-bet all in over your squeeze. Ace king off is snapping it off there. Compare that, of course, if there was a call, right? Even though it doesn't make any sense. So this is hijack open, button call, you squeeze, hijack shoves, button calls, right? If button calls, ace king off gets in the muck, and ace king off performs very poorly in multi-way all ins. That's basically why ace king offsuit almost always goes for a cold 4-bet, cold 5-bet kind of thing, because ace king offsuit doesn't play very well in multi-way pots compared to heads up pots. The expectation in the heads up pot is way higher in a multi-way pot. So if you have the option, if you're facing a squeeze from a type opponent, you usually always want to click it up with ace king offsuit, because you want it to go heads up rather than multi-way. What else is there? Is that enough pre-flop? You guys have any specific pre-flop questions? I mean, one of the easiest ways to improve in the micros is to get good pre-flop. I mean, like I've got the charts up on the website, and they're okay. I mean, if you grab my book, you get access to all of these, and these are much better. But just getting good at pre-flop is going to be one of the biggest things, because some of the biggest mistakes that we looked at there are pre-flop, and it's like the first street. So like if you mess up pre-flop, there's not much you can do post-flop to catch up, because the deck is just not going to be kind enough to you. All right, any questions about either the session, about pre-flop stuff, post-flop stuff? If you got any questions about PLO, we can talk about PLO for a bit, I guess.
I'm surprised how wide the stack off range is for like against the button.
Yeah,
Like it included 8s, 9s, 10s.
Pretty damn wide.
But I guess most people aren't like jamming wide enough on the button to warrant this.
Yeah, I mean there should be like even
What are they jamming that we can call off 9s?
Then you get a jam, like that's what it looks like. Click it back here and then get a shove. Just because the shoving range is just got to be, we'll have this ace king offsuit and some of this ace x suited, and the more ace king they have, the more non-pocket pair hands they have in their shoving range, the wider you can call in terms of pocket pairs.
So as long as they're willing to jam ace king and ace 5 suited, pocket pairs start becoming calls.
Yeah, I mean, like the expectation isn't super high. Like here you've got eights, you win a big blind by calling. Nines, you win like half a big blind by calling. Probably should run another sim. Or like here. Eights are indifferent. Tens are doing pretty well. Nines, you win about half a big blind by calling. Yeah. Yeah, there's not enough data to really tell what's going on. Anyway, any other questions? I mean, the getting range has got something to do with the width of the opening range. So like they're opening 45% on the button. The get in range ends up being something like, what is this, like 3 or 4%? But if they're only opening the low jack and there's only like 18%, much harder than that. In fact, in the low jack, if we wanted to have a look, say it folds around, the big blind 3-bets, click it back, and then jam. That's kind of what it looks like. I mean, there's kings plus and ace king suited, and then the pocket pairs are indifferent. Right. Against these jamming ranges, ace king suited. Against very tight jamming ranges like this, ace king suited does pretty well. Because it's got against the kings plus ace king, it's got more than enough equity to call compared to a pocket pair, which doesn't do as well. Especially if there's just like sort of random stuff in their range that they jam. There might not be, but if there is, then ace king suited does really well at bluff catching the all in. All right. Any other questions? I mean, overall, I think you did okay. I mean, one of the biggest things that I think that you can do going forward is like only playing 2 tables. Like if you're playing 2 tables of Zoom, that should be enough. And then like really focusing on how well you are playing pre-flop. Like the biggest differences in win rates at the lowest stakes has just got to do with how well you're playing pre-flop. Because post-flop everyone plays just as poorly as each other. So there is an edge to be had there, but not quite as big as you'd think, especially because of the high reg. Yeah, that'd be good. Like if you want to record on that another session, an ACR. Does ACR have blitz? Yeah, I think they do. They've got the fast fold tables now. Yeah, I mean if you're only playing, you can play 2 tables of fast fold. Depends what the time bank is. If the time bank's only like the time, if you get like I think on Stars, there's a time bank for the fast fold, which increases the length of the hands. So that's why you might want to play more than 2 tables in Stars. But if here on Ignition, there's only 15 seconds, and I think on ACR, I'm not sure what time bank is like there. Yeah, so if you want to record another session for a review down the track, just try go to 2 tables and really focus on pre-flop, and then we can talk more about post-flop, because the biggest mistakes that you made here were pre-flop. Like, even in the PLO. And PLO pre-flop is pretty difficult to wrap your head around. Cool. All right. So thanks for that video, Kyle. Hopefully you learned a few things. And for everyone watching at home, thanks for joining in on this tutorial. See ya.